Movie buffs, welcome back to the Movie Bay. This is D. In today's video, we're going to take a look at a bunch of movies that I was watching over the quarantine period. This isn't all of them, but this is a lot of the movies. This is probably 90% of the movies that I watched over the quarantine period. Now, I've been watching some shows on Netflix, and I've been doing some streaming stuff. But as far as physical movies out of my collection, I'm going to show you some of the movies that I've been watching over the quarantine period. Probably give you a couple of ideas on some movies that you can watch, that you could probably pick up. You can still get movies. It's hard to get them from a store at this point because they're all considered non-essential. But you can order movies. You can still order movies from, unfortunately for us in the movie collecting world, Second Spin is no longer. They closed, so you can't order. That's an online resource that we don't have any longer. But there's Goodwill. There's Declutter. There's FYE. There's still a couple others, Family Video. There's still a pretty good presence of online places to buy used movies from, but Second Spin was a really great resource for us, and it's a shame that it's gone. But anyway, back to the video. So here's some movies that I've been watching over the quarantine, and see if you see anything in here that you might want to go out there and grab. We'll start with 13. I watched this movie. Now most of these movies, I'm going to say 99% of these movies I've seen before, but I just wanted to watch them again because I got time now. This was 13. This was a really interesting movie. It was basically like of course, like really eccentric millionaires who idea of fun is watching people play Russian roulette. This is basically a high-stake Russian roulette game that's being played. It started off with 13 contestants, and it goes down to the last two, and they basically shoot to the death. You got a good cast in here. 50 Cent is in here. Jason Statham is in here. You can see right here Mickey Rourke, Sam Riley. A really good movie. Michael, one of my favorites is in here. Michael, before he really blew up, Michael Shannon is in here. Michael Shannon is one of my favorite actors. He's really come a long way. What really sold me on Michael Shannon was his portrayal of Michael Kuklinski in The Iceman. I think his name was Michael Kuklinski. I know the last name was Kuklinski. That's what sold me on him. Then his role in Boardwalk Empire. Then really his role as General Zod in Superman. That was, Michael Shannon is a really good actor. Now, he's not one of the main actors in here, so you don't see him in the credits, but you'll definitely see him right here. He's definitely in the movie. 13, this is a solid movie. You can catch this used all day, every day. I think you're going to see this religiously under $10. When I say under strong like that, you're going to get it really under $10. What I would pay for this is definitely under $10. But again, this is a movie that if you find it at the $10 price point or lower, if you really want to see it, you wouldn't be disappointed paying $10 for this. I'll be honest with you. Next up, I watched The Fog. This is John Carpenter's version of The Fog. I have the remake. That was trash. But this was really good, classic movie. This is the Steelbook version. I got this from one of my favorite stores, Goodies Disc Exchange. This is a really good movie. This is one of John Carpenter's better works. Really good movie. I loved it and I enjoyed it. And this is a good quarantine movie. I was watching Tremors. This is a movie from, I think I want to say this was the early 90s when this movie came out. Still got the J card attached. Let's take that off. Don't really need that. But since it's here, that's fine. This is an FY exclusive steelbook. Let's get that J card off. It's in the way. And this is a really good movie, Tremors. You got Kevin Bacon in here. And I think Michael Gross, he played the dad in Family Ties. And actually, Michael Gross, I think he was in all of the Tremor movies. There was quite a few. They lost me after 2. This one and the one that came after was pretty good. After that, they kind of lost me. But it was a good movie, and it's a good watch for what we're going through right now. And you can get this. This is a FYE exclusive steelbook. Brand new, I think this is under $10 or right at $10. And that's not bad for a brand new steelbook. For a good movie, actually. All these movies I'm going to rate as good movies. So far, all of these are rated as good movies. The Fog is actually rated good. It's not great, but it's good. Some would call it great. I would rate it good. This one is called The Heist. You got Jeffrey Dean Morgan, Negan from The Walking Dead. If you guys like The Walking Dead, his portrayal as Negan, to me, basically, in my opinion, saved the show. Because they was making some stupid casting decisions in that show, but he really came through. You got Kate Bosworth in here. You got David Bautista, Robert De Niro, what's his name? What's Chestnut? Morris Chestnut. You got quite a few good, talented actors in here. Now, this movie is not a good movie. This is just a watchable movie. I wouldn't really pay more than $5 for this, to be honest with you. It's a watchable movie. So we're going to do 2 stacks here. Good movies, watchable movies. And we're going to do a great movie stack. Invasion of the Body Snatchers, the original. Now, this movie was actually, they did a newer version of this. They didn't call it Invasion of the Body Snatchers. It was called Invasion with, who was the stars of that movie? I'm going to say it was Craig Daniel, Bond, and Nicole Kidman was the stars of that movie. It was an okay movie, very similar to this, but not quite as good. Donald Sutherland was just the man in this movie. This is the original version of Invasion of the Body Snatchers. Really good movie. I'm going to put that in the good movie pile. So far, nothing great yet, in my opinion. Some of you may disagree. Zombieland, the original. And the reason why I went back and watched this because I knew I had double tap on order and it was coming in, so I wanted to just kind of catch up. So I watched Zombieland. Again, I've seen this movie before. This is actually a good movie. What you want to pay, let's go back to these two. What you want to pay for Invasion of the Body Snatchers. Now, you're not going to get this for $5 on eBay or anywhere right now because it's a hot movie. So look to pay about $10 for this one. That's what you're going to expect to pay for that one. Now, see, with your mom and pop stores closed, your competition just got a little bit leaner. So you're at the mercy of online pricing right now. You can beat online pricing in your mom and pop stores for the most part. Zombieland Double Tap. This is an older movie. You can find this in 7-Elevens and places like that. So this is definitely a $4 to $5 movie. All day, every day. Next up, this is the first great movie that we're going to look at. This is Identity. John Cusack, Ray Liotta, Amanda Peet. This is a really good movie. This is one of my favorite psych thrillers. When I did my psych thriller video, this was definitely in there, and this is high up there. You just got to watch this movie. It's really, really, really good movie. I'm going to rate this as a great movie. This is, in my opinion, I think this is a great movie because I really enjoy psychological thrillers. If you don't really like psychological thrillers, but you like good movies, you might rate this as a good movie. But since I really enjoy psych thrillers, I'm going to rate this as a great movie. Another great movie, The Curious Case of Benjamin Button. This is one of my wife's favorite movies. I actually enjoy this movie. I think it's a great movie. It's not one of my favorite movies, but I do appreciate this movie. It is a really, really great movie. You got, Kate Blanchett, Brad Pitt, they was awesome. This movie was just, it was a really good movie. Why it's not one of my favorite movies, I don't know. But it's a movie that if it's on, I'll sit down and watch it. It's just not a movie that I would pull off the shelf to go watch. If my wife pulled it off to go watch it, I would watch it with her. Really great movie. Long movie, but it's a great movie. Here's another great movie. This is Malcolm X. You got an all-star cast in this movie. You got Denzel Washington, Spike Lee himself, Delroy Lindo. The list goes on and on and on. I went to go see this movie when it came out in theaters, and it was really tense. I went to Cheltenham Movie Theater. You guys know I'm a Philly dude, so I went to go see this up in Cheltenham years ago. I was real young when this movie came out, and it was an incident there. It wasn't a bad incident, but it was just an incident. So it was a really good movie. I think it was ahead of its time a little bit, but Malcolm X is a great movie. And he was a great man. Cost real quick. Identity, you should be able to find, these are DVDs. So you're going to be able to find these cheap regardless. These are definitely DVDs. And I'm going to use the lowest price for these, $5, maybe lower. I actually have a store that's close to where I live now. He's not one of my favorite DVD stores. I don't really go there that much anymore. But he sells DVDs 5 for $10. And you can find these titles there. So DVDs, I mean, you could find these. I'm going to say the most you should be looking to spend on any of these is $5. Now, again, online pricing, you might pay a little bit more for The Curious Case of Benjamin Button and Malcolm X than you would probably pay for Identity. You know what I'm saying? So you just got to... With DVDs, it's hard for me because I know locally I'm getting DVDs cheaper than Blu-rays. So, I don't know. I would say all the DVDs, I'm going to say look to spend under $5 for them. If you're spending more, then you're spending more. But I would look to pay less than $5 for a DVD at this point in the game. The Count of Monte Cristo. I mean, Jim Caviezel, Guy Pearce, Richard Harris. The list goes on and on. This is probably one of the best revenge movies I've ever seen in my life. It is one of my favorites. This is one of my wife's favorite movies. This is a movie that I will go grab off my shelf. This is a great movie. This is phenomenal. If you haven't seen this movie, you need to go ahead and get this movie now. I don't think you'll be able to Redbox this one. You might be able to stream this one. If you got a streaming service, you might be able to find this one. But this is The Count of Monte Cristo. This movie is fantastic. This is, like I said, this is probably one of the best revenge movies that I've ever seen. Jim Caviezel, this guy, I'm not sure what happened to his Hollywood career, but between this, The Passion of the Christ, and some of the other stuff he did, I don't know why this guy is not a mega ultra star. But yeah, this is The Count of Monte Cristo. Check it out. Another good quarantine movie. This is a little dusty here. Sorry about that, guys. It's been sitting on the shelf for a while. This is Tenacious D and the Pick of Destiny. Jack Black, man, wow. What can I say about this one? It is funny as hell. And I'm not a real comedy buff. I do have quite a few comedies in my collection, but I'm not a comedy buff like that. But this movie right here had me in stitches. My favorite scene was the rock off they did with the devil. It was just fantastic. The whole premise of the movie, I loved it. This is a really good movie. It's not a great movie. It's a good movie. And this is the first DVD that we looked at that's only going to make good status. Now, again, if you're a comedy buff, you might say this is a great movie. It's really, now if you look at it as far as stoner movies go, it's a great movie. But for me, this is just a good movie. So it's going to go in my good movie stack. We got two here. Actually, this one is a little loose in here. Let me just tighten it down. Goes along with the theme of what we're going through now. 28 Days Later and 28 Weeks Later. These are both good. I enjoyed both of these movies. I thought they were fantastic. 28 Days Later, and I don't know which one I like more. They're really good. They've been in my collection for years. And, you know, these are just good movies to watch, especially right about now. I actually got Quarantine 1 and 2. I didn't watch those, but I have those in my collection as well. So, 28 Days Later, 28 Weeks Later, if you don't have these or you've never seen these, you could probably grab these on a streaming service. But, again, all the DVDs I'm going to put at that $5 price. Now, again, you might pay more for them. It all depends on where you're going. But price expected to pay for these should be about $5. For DVDs. Now, if you want any of these DVDs that we looked at on Blu-ray, look to spend more. But I'm going to say if you're looking for them on DVD, probably about $5 is probably where you want to be, or less. Some places like FYE, Second Sale, you know, Second Spin, a lot of those places, DVDs are like $3.99, $4, and if you catch them on sale, it gets even better than that for DVD movies. Especially these. These are older movies, but they're really good movies. So these are going to go in my... Actually, these are great movies. Both of these are really great movies for the genre. So I'm going to put these in my great movie stash. Next up, Outbreak. Outbreak. And I'm going to throw... Why not? I'm going to move the video along. We're going to look at Outbreak and Contagion. They're very similar, but they're very different. They go about it different ways. Outbreak, it's a monkey that is actually basically the zero subject. I would say patient zero, but it's not really a patient, but it came from this monkey. He's the host. Dustin Hoffman, Rene Russo, you had Cuba Gooding Jr. in here. Samuel, I mean, not Samuel, I mixed them two up. You got Morgan Freeman and you got Donald Sutherland. Donald Sutherland. And this movie is fantastic. I seen this movie years ago and I just rewatched it. This is a really, really good movie about an outbreak. Something that could have possibly been a pandemic, but it was contained to just one town where the government was going to destroy the town because their bioweapon got loose. Really good movie. You got to check this one out. This is available on streaming services. I saw it sitting up there I think I saw it on Amazon Instant Video. This might be on. Go ahead and check it out. This is a great movie. Actually, that's a good movie. Contagion. This one is very similar to what we're going through right now. This is more similar to what we're going through now than Outbreak. This is basically from a pig. A bat was eating something. I'm not going to, I can give a little bit away on this one. Basically, it came from a bat. A bat was eating what the bat was eating on, fell into a pig trough. A piglet ate it. The piglet was slaughtered, and it just kind of went on from there. The way the piglet was handled, I think if the piglet was cooked and the person that was preparing the piglet did everything right and followed food safety, that wouldn't have been an issue, the fact that the piglet was contaminated. Because if you handle it and cook it right, you basically destroy any contaminants that's in it anyway, but it wasn't handled right. So here we go right here. I got this from Goodies Disc Exchange, and you see the price there. So again, like I said, DVDs, look to spend $5 or less depending on where you get them from, guys. And this right here is a good movie. It's not a great movie. This is a good movie. Next up, here's one that I purchased a while ago, but I never really got around to watching it until now. Stephen King, Taken. Now, let's talk about this one. I didn't see this one that originally aired on I think it came out on the Sci-Fi Channel. It's 7 discs, and it's basically, let's open it up and take a look at it so you can get a better understanding of it. This is really good, guys. It revolves around 2 families. The Crawford family, actually 3 families. The Crawford family, the Hayes family, and the Clark family. Now, the Crawford family is the family that's basically the bad guys, if you would. They're basically the bad guys. The Hayes family is the family that has... they don't have alien DNA in them, but the Clark family do. You're going to like this one. It's long. Like I said, it's spread over 7 discs. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 discs. Not 7. Okay, 6 discs. It spreads over 6 discs. Right now, I'm at the 4th. So I've watched all of it. And it's 2 episodes, 2 full-length episodes on each disc. So... on the first disc, I think both of these episodes was 2 hours. Or the first episode was 2 hours. Then every other episode per episode is about 1.5 hours. So you're getting a lot of runtime with this. So you're not going to be able to finish this right away. So since I've been on quarantine, well, I'm not really quarantined because I still work, but since the quarantine lockdown started, I was able to watch. I'm up to the first, I'm getting ready to go to the 2nd episode on the 4th disc. So... this is really good. It's basically about aliens who take certain people and they follow these people over decades. I think it starts off in the year 1947, okay? And by the time you get to the 4th disc, you're at, I want to say, I think it's at 1996 at this point, or 1998. That's where I'm at right now. But I think it's going to go all the way up. Disc 6 will probably end somewhere in the 2000s, probably. I think this came out in 2002, but they can do some futuristic stuff. So I got a funny feeling it's going to end definitely probably around 2010, the way it's going now. So this is a really interesting series. I enjoy it. I knew I would. We could look at a couple of things here. So we could look at it. Let's see the runtime. 14 hours and 45 minutes. That's your total runtime. 14 hours and 45 minutes. That's your total runtime on this. This is good. And I seen this for as low as, I got mine for a pretty good price. Okay. I got mine for a pretty decent price. I seen this as high as $15. And to be honest with you, if I didn't have a place to get it locally and I saw this for 15 bucks and I knew anything about it, I probably wouldn't have a hard time spending 15 bucks on something like this. But this is Taken. This is Stephen King Presents. It's like a mini series. 15 hours of watch time spread over 6 discs. You're really going to like this one, guys. And this is, in my opinion, this is a good watch. It's not great, but it's a good watch. So that's going to go in the good watch pile. Next up, we have The Passion of the Christ. Mel Gibson. This is a Mel Gibson film. You got Jim Caviezel in here. You got, oh wow, this movie, we watched this because my daughter never seen it. My youngest daughter never seen this, and she wanted to watch it, so we watched it again. I've seen this movie over and over again. It's probably the most powerfulest movie. As far as power level, and what I mean by power level for me is how emotional the movie gets you. Very few movies get me this emotional. Now, don't get me wrong. In my collection, I probably have about a good 50 movies that really get me there. This is one of those movies that take me there. This, Private Ryan, Malcolm X, The Green Mile. Yeah, I know, The Green Mile. There's quite a few movies that get me there, and this is definitely one. This is a very powerful, moving, compelling movie. Even if you are not a Christian, even if you are an atheist, this movie will do something to you. You will not be able to watch this movie without being moved spiritually. Just something in you spiritually being moved. I can't speak to what religion will affect who, what. I'm not here for that, but I'm just saying this movie has a very strong power level. And this is a great, great movie. Next is one of my go-tos, Seven. I've seen this movie more times. Man, this movie's been in my collection for a long time. I'm refusing to upgrade this one to Blu-ray because I love the packaging on this. I really don't want to get rid of it. Because I don't want multiple copies of the same movie in my collection. I think that's a waste of money to do that. But I do want to see this in Blu-ray. I might get a Blu-ray and still keep this particular edition. I love it. It's a 2-disc edition with the book. If you've seen the movie, you know what you know about the little notebooks. Really good movie. You got Brad Pitt. You got Morgan Freeman. You got Gwyneth Paltrow. Fantastic film. This is the best psychological thriller in my collection. I know I said Identity was a really good psychological thriller, and it is. But this is, to me, this set the standard for psych thrillers. It is, to me, this really, I'm not going to say it, to me, this kind of walks the line a little bit. This is almost like a borderline horror movie, even though it's not really like jump scary, but this is a really chilling psych thriller. Probably the best psych thriller of all times, in my humble opinion. Oh, I forgot Kevin Spacey's in here, but you don't really see him towards the end of the movie. This is a great movie. I can't rank this movie high enough. The scale of 1 to 10 would not do this movie any justice. Now, here's a movie that's been in my collection for a million years. It still got the Hollywood sticker on it. This is Alive. This movie, the first time I seen this one, what happened, what drew me to this movie, years ago, I was watching an episode of Oprah Winfrey, and they had the people who survived. The survivors was on the Oprah Winfrey show. And I remember that, and I saw this movie, and I said, let me go ahead and check this out, and I'm glad I did. I do believe, now, I could be wrong, I do believe it was was this a South African sports team? Either way, this was a foreign sports team. They was going to go play some sport, and their plane went down, and I think it was Mount Everest? No, not Mount Everest. It went down on a mountain, and it was in the snowy mountain, and there people died, of course. Then some people survived the crash just to die later. They had all kinds of things, broken bones, infections, hunger. It was a really sad movie, but the ending just warmed your heart because these 3 guys right here survived. This is based on a true story. Wow, this is one of my favorite movies. This is a great movie. And here's something that I watched. I bought the whole franchise out, but I didn't watch them all. My daughter wanted to see these. Since the kids are home, they actually want to go back and see old movies that they never saw, movies that might have came out before their time, or they was really young when the movies came out, and they want to watch some stuff that came out that they never seen before. So this is a good time for anybody to catch up, especially the young ones, to catch up on some movies that they didn't see when they was either too young to see them or they wasn't out yet. But we started off, we watched Final Destination, the first one, and we watched Final Destination 2, and we watched Final Destination 3. I think we're going to watch these two today. So I just wanted to catch up on some Final Destination movies. In the whole franchise, me personally, I think I liked 1 and 2 the best. That's my opinion. I liked 1 and 2 the best. As far as franchises go, this is just a, out of the whole franchise, I wouldn't call this a good franchise. This is a watchable franchise as far as all of them goes. This is definitely watchable. It's not, I would say it's not great. Definitely not great. It's not good. I think it's watchable. I would rate this as watchable if I had to rate the whole series. Individual movies, I would probably rate as good. None of these are great. I would probably rate 1 and 2 as good, and then the other 3 is watchable. So since more is watchable than not, the whole series is watchable. And this is Final Destination. This is all 5 films on DVD. I have no desire to upgrade these to Blu-ray. DVD is good enough for these. So that's some of the movies I've been watching over the quarantine. There's more stuff I've been watching on streaming services and a few more hard copies, but I didn't pull them all down. This is pretty much the brunt of it. So quick recap. We watched Final Destination 1 and 2 and 3, but I did pull the whole series down. The only ones that was rated watchable is Final Destination and The Heist. These were just watchable in my opinion. Now here's all the stuff that I rated as good. Taken. This movie was fantastic. I mean, well, movie, yeah, I call it a movie, but this series I thought was fantastic. Again, it wasn't great, but it was good. And I'm not even all the way done with it yet, so I'm dying to see how this ends. Contagion, I've seen this before. It's definitely something to watch, especially now. Outbreak. I think Outbreak was a better movie than Contagion. Now, here's where I'm at with these two. If it comes down to picking one, I would go with Outbreak, because I think Outbreak just had more action, which it had more action. It had more action. I enjoyed the acting in this one better. This one, you had decent acting, but you had more powerful actors in this one. You had Dustin Hoffman. I'm going to skip Rene Russo, but you had Morgan Freeman, Donald Sutherland, Cuba Gooding Jr. Over here, the saving grace for this one was Lawrence Fishburne. Matt Damon was just okay in this one, but you had a lot of talent in this one, but I just think Outbreak was the better movie. Tenacious D and the Pick of Destiny. This is a funny movie. This is going to give you your comedy relief. Times like this, you do want to watch a comedy here and there just to keep yourself up. Zombieland. Invasion of the Body Snatchers. The Fog. Tremors. And 13. Those are the good movies that I watched. Now here's the great movies that I watched. And again, this is just my opinion. You may say, oh, that's not a great movie. That was just okay. That's fine.